296 days ago, I left my full-time job. I thought I was stepping away from something, but it turns out I was stepping into something I've never done before. The hardest, most invisible, but most important work of my life. For as long as I can remember, I had a very specific idea of what work looked like. Work was a desk. It was a title. Work was climbing a ladder that I didn't necessarily build, but was told, climb it anyway. Work was measured in promotions, in paychecks, and in answering the question, so what do you do? I was good at that kind of work. I spent 15 years building a career, collecting accomplishments, and stacking up proof that I was doing something with my life. And I'm not here to tell you that it was meaningless. It wasn't. I learned things, I met people, I built things, and the work that I did, it changed my life. I never once questioned the definition of work. I just accepted that work was something that happened outside of the home, that it required a commute, a login, that it had to be understood by other people. It had to be something I could post on LinkedIn, something that came with some sort of external validation. The praise had to come from out there, a performance review, a promotion, a, hey, you're doing a great job, from somebody that had more authority than me. That was work. Everything else, that was just life, the stuff that you had to do so that you could get back to the real work. 296 days ago, all of that stopped. I became unemployed. For the first time in my adult life, I didn't have a job to go to, I didn't have a boss to report to, and I didn't have a title to introduce myself with. I expected to feel a little lost, a little angry, and a little remorseful. And at times I have. There have been moments of doubt, stretches of feeling rootless, and not sure of where I would go next. Sometimes I would feel like I was frantically looking around for the answer to what's next, but the only answer I could come up with was applying for jobs that I knew weren't right. But I didn't know any other way. I couldn't figure out another way out of this. And then slowly, more slowly than I anticipated, as time passed, something else happened. I started working in a way that I never had before. Not at a desk behind a computer, not for a paycheck, and not for anyone else's approval. I started going on walks. In the middle of the day, I would go to the grocery store. I would see for the first time the actual colors and faces of my neighborhood, things that I had passed 1,000 times before and never once really looked at. I figured out how to do nothing with my kids. I know that sounds really small, but it's not. Because the nothing, the sitting around, scribbling together, listening to their stories, being in a room without agenda, all of that nothing, it turned into something. I started my mornings with drop-off, and I was there for pickup. I was the one who heard about their day, who handed them a goûter, without mentally drafting the 10 emails I would need to send later. This has not been a clean transformation. There has been friction, internal friction, external friction. Because I grew up believing that this, the work of the home, was something women had to do before they had other options. That feminism meant the freedom to leave the kitchen, to have a career, and to not be defined by domestic life. And I still believe that. I believe women should have every option. But somewhere along the way, I also absorbed this other message that choosing this work was a step backward, that it meant maybe there was something wrong with you, that the home was a place where you let your ambition go in place of something else. I had to sit with that. I had to ask myself many uncomfortable questions. Was I giving up? Was I betraying myself? Was I becoming a person that I used to quietly judge? And what I came to was this. The problem was never the work itself. The problem was that we were told that it wasn't work at all. This is different. This is seeing the fruit of your labor in real time. The smile after a meal that I actually had the time to cook. The hug after a hard moment. The slow understanding of what's actually going on with my kids and not just the headline version of what I used to get, but the real thing. I used to think work had to be rewarded with a paycheck to count. Now I think the most real work is the kind where the praise is internal, where the satisfaction isn't announced, but it's felt. And I know how this sounds, because there's a version of this that's romanticized and naive. It's through rose-colored glasses on Instagram, that version of life that's leaving the hustle behind and finding yourself in slow living. This is not that. This work is hard. Harder in some ways than anything I ever did in an office. Because when you work a job, you get breaks, you get to clock out, you get to have a meeting end and then take a breath. This work does not clock out. There is no end of day. There's just the next thing, the next need, the next moment that requires you to be fully present. But this is what I didn't expect. While I've never worked this hard, I've also never felt more full. Not fulfilled in the way that a promotion made me feel. That was always a spike, a hit, something that would fade by the next week. In all the time that I was told to lean in and that women can have everything that they want, no one told me this. When two people are managing 2 full-time jobs and there's a family to raise, you're not managing 2 jobs, you're managing 3. There's your job, your partner's job, and then there's the entire infrastructure of a household and a family. The meals, the appointments, the emotional labor, the logistics, the presence that is required to raise small humans. 3 jobs, 2 people. And for years, we tried to do all 3. We squeezed the 3rd job into the margins. Early mornings, late nights, weekends, we outsourced wherever we could. We ran on prayers that no one would get sick or have an accident or need anything outside of the regular routine. We had a delicate balance that would be thrown into disarray by a stomach bug or a bad day. We ran on this rush for our kids to get older so that all of this would get easier. But the math, it never worked. Something always gave. So when I stepped out of job number 1, I didn't stop working. I just finally gave the 3rd job the attention that it required. And I am not saying everyone should do this. I am not saying this is the right answer for every family. And I know that we're lucky to even have this as an option. But what I am saying is this is a real job. It requires real skills. It is not a vacation. It is not doing nothing. And it is work that someone has to do. So this is where I've landed 296 days in. Work is not a place that you go. It's not a title that you hold. It's not something that only counts if someone else is paying you to do it. Work is effort applied towards something that matters. Work is using your hands, your body, your attention. Work is feeling physically tired, but emotionally full. Work is the stuff that builds character, that makes you reflective, that forces you to confront who you are when no one is watching, when there's no performance review, and when the only metric is when you can look at yourself at the end of the day and feel okay about what you did. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if I'll ever go back to a real job or if this is life for now. But I know this. They say I'm not working, but this is the hardest job I've ever had. And I've never been more sure of what I'm working for.